This is going to appear oversimplistic, and if you've seen other videos of mine, oddly absolutist. But I believe one thing to be the greatest political truth of all of human history. Every political evil ever perpetrated through wars, slavery, the denial of human rights, and more comes down to one existential threat to humanity: the subjugation of the individual to the power of the collective. Now, hear me out. Individuals coming together and using their combined power for change is not in itself inherently good or evil. Groups of people rallying behind a cause can be a very positive thing for society, of course. But here's what's at issue. It's when people have placed the value of the collective over the value of the individual that we have seen the greatest atrocities committed of all time. Some examples are quite obvious. Slavery exists because one race or tribe is seen as collectively more valuable than another. The Holocaust took place because Jews and other undesirables were seen as inherently inferior. Communist regimes have killed tens of millions in the name of elevating the collective over the right of any individual. And religious conflicts are obviously the belief that one collective sect or congregation owns a morally superior truth over any other. Now, these are quite obvious, but here's where it becomes controversial. You and I, we may think we're enlightened and would never justify evil in the cause of some collective goal. But are we really? Western society has become more and more tolerant of collectivism in order to engineer social results. We are taught that individuals can and should be judged based on their group affiliation. How else do you explain the intolerance for Jews on college campuses, being denied entry to college classrooms, and being threatened just for being Jewish? How else do you explain the battle for how American history is being taught in the classroom? Now, both good and bad exists in individual events throughout our American history. Yet one side wants to whitewash American history as nothing but star-spangled spectacular, while the other wants everything to be taught through the filter of collective racial or class injustice. Social and neuroscientists have proof that when society amplifies collective superiority or inferiority, nothing good comes from it. As a society, we either become arrogant or a perpetual victim. Our use of reason and empathy for our fellow humans are muted when we see ourselves as part of some superior group or cause. This shouldn't surprise you, but we now know more about the other side as well, that our sense of self-worth, our confidence, and our very ability to succeed in society are severely hampered when we are taught that we are victims. Now, there's nothing wrong with pointing out where one group has systemically discriminated against another. Of course not. However, if we go beyond valuing each person as an individual and assign their superior or inferior value, or oppressed versus oppressor status based on group identity, we are actually making matters worse. Collective action will always be necessary to further ourselves as a species, but we must be careful to use collective action to further the dignity of the individual. To do otherwise dramatically impacts our ability to advocate for others and for ourselves. Science has shown how it desensitizes us to evil acts. It dehumanizes and it opens the door to the worst of human nature. So what do you think? Is the subjugation of the individual over the power of the collective the biggest political struggle we face? Let us know in the comments. If you can be kind and you can be curious, you can be in the comments. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, why not?